Let's see. So, hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to our webinar this week on creating EPDs on openLCA. I'm Andreas Sirot and I had also I was in the last webinar. Now I'm with Ashrakat here next to me. She's EPD expert and works for Green Delta and helped me to prepare material and also maybe contribute here to the webinar. So let's get going. Very nice. Ashrakat will also take care of the chat if there's last time we had quite an active chat which was very nice, and maybe yes, so maybe this will be the same this time. This as last time, this is recorded and will be put on YouTube afterwards, so therefore you can also repeat some sections that are maybe a bit fast or whatever, and also if some colleagues couldn't join, this will be available afterwards, but you miss of course this interactive component, so therefore that's maybe still useful, hopefully, that you join. So let's get to the content, and before we do this, I have this here as a internal announcement. Maybe you've seen that we are taking the a bit bold step that we organize an openLCA conference, and it's a bit, joke is from me, the openLCA conference, because it's not intended to be focusing only on the software openLCA, but also on maybe broader LCA context. But of course, what you can do with openLCA, typical use cases, our also plans with openLCA and so on, and that will be happen in Berlin next spring 2024, and we have now call for abstracts. You see a date April 15 to 17, and deadline for submitting the abstract is November 1st. We have a specific website for this, openLCA conference, on openLCA.org, where you find more details, and that is a bit a step for us, but I think we see so many use cases and users of openLCA worldwide that this is probably very needed, and it's also a chance, I think, for any openLCA users to meet others and to see and exchange what others do and what the strong points are, and what you can take out of it, or maybe also what you need, and so on. So quite interesting. You see what we have thought of sessions here, from case studies, also EPDs, but also larger IT systems, company or industry applications, and also a bit more method development from our research projects. So we look forward to this. Yes, I forgot, as last time, thank you, I forgot to switch the screen, so now I'm a bit smaller, and that's maybe better. Okay, but now for this webinar, we have 5 points, and important is question and answer section at the end. But we have basically some sort of theory, if you want, for EPDs. So EPDs are environmental product declarations. So what are environmental product declarations? Then how do you create them? How do you get them? And then the other, so that's the first part, and the other part is using openLCA to create EPDs and to work with openLCA and EPDs. And that's, of course, based on the new version 2, where we have added this as a new element that was not existing before, and therefore this is also quite, we thought, a good topic for such a webinar that we have now. So first, what are EPDs? Maybe it's a bit, if you join, a bit not new, so therefore I go through this a bit fast. So EPDs are defined by ISO 1425 as Type 3 declaration, quantifying environmental information over the life cycle of a product. And the idea is to enable comparisons. And that's, of course, a very important application. You know that there are also Type 1 eco-labels, Type 2 eco-labels, so self-declared labels, and Type 3 eco-labels are these EPDs, and of various kinds. And it's basically an EPD, as you know, is an LCA, or an LCA is the background of an EPD. But difference is that LCA, if you follow also ISO as a standard, the goal and scope that you come up with for the LCA, defines everything, defines your entire modeling. And you can just do for the same or similar product a very different LCA study. So you can say, I will look only at my site and exclude my supply chain. I look only at water footprint. I look only at carbon footprint or whatever. This is all potentially valid ISO, valid LCA studies. But of course, the results are not at all comparable. And so therefore they can differ. And this is also implying that you need to document and explain a lot your approach to do the LCA. And EPDs on the other side, as you know, have the idea that you have for one group of products an agreed procedure and methodology, so to say, so an agreed goal and scope, including LCA method, including life cycle stages and so forth. And that makes this more comparable and easier to use also, and that also needs relieves a bit the need for documenting every single step that you did, because you just need to know, okay, this is following this product category rule, and then you need to be certain that this was indeed followed. But then if it's true, then you can only look at the main result that is summarized in the EPD, and that's of course quite easy to consume then and nice, and that has led really to, we perceive, to an explosion in the interest in application of EPDs in recent years. Yes, so that's a bit, you see, the many diversity of LCA studies and one EPD, but all based on, in principle, also the EPD is linked to an LCA background study and model. Okay, and then, I didn't mention this, but then it's a very typical and strong application sector for EPDs is the construction sector, and there's especially the EN 15804 norm A2 in the recent version that prescribes quite detailed for construction products, for any construction product, the approach. I'm not explaining and reading this all in detail, you can check, but you have a bit interesting combination that is a picture I made of different indicators for the life cycle. For one, you have normal, you could say normal LCA indicators, climate change and so on, resource depletion. But then you have also input flows from previous life cycle and output flows to a next life cycle, here in orange and dark green. And you have also waste flows that are not at all in a, if you have a well-managed system, you have waste management and waste treatment. Therefore, hazardous waste shouldn't be be exposed to nature, but should be kept in a proper managed landfill, for example. So it doesn't leave your system boundaries, but still, it is one indicator, or this is one of the indicators that need to be addressed here. So this is summarizing for the indicators types for the EN 15804 A2 norm. Okay. Sorry. Then how to create an EPD. Sorry, Ashragat. You made this more detailed, but basically, of course, you need to first select the product, then you need to find the product category rule, so that where you base your LCA model on. Conduct then an LCA conforming to this PCR. Then also need to produce the EPD and then put the EPD for verification. Verifier, I'm for example also verifier, Ashrakat not yet, but is keen to maybe get it proved. You need to have someone to check if indeed you as a, let's say, practitioner follow the PCR rules when doing the EPD, and then you register this and it's becoming public, and you do this in different program operators that we will have later. So here you assess the product like concrete, wood, whatever, and you have then also a bit as a sub detail, so to say. You can have EPDs that are product specific for one company. You can also have EPDs that for a group of similar products, and then you can also have sector EPDs that are then trying to make an EPD for the entire timber production sector, for example. And then you typically you need to have some penalty factors in addition to avoid that black sheep, so to say, are jumping on this and not making specific EPDs. So hello, basically hello to the chat. I see some people are already saying hi. That's very nice. So here you see, select the program operator, and here we just have randomly collected some. So there are also others, but you see there's some variety. IBU is specifically German, and especially on the production construction sector. EPD International is more broad, so also for construction sectors, but also for other types of products. UL is maybe a bit more in the US, but quite strong there. BRE, ACM, and so forth. So then you see that these, as you know, according to ISO 14025, are responsible for setting up the whole system that manages EPD, including PCR development, including the verifier systems, including the publication. And then you can imagine, but that's not topic here, but that there is quite some potential deviation across these different program operators for basically the same type of EPD, but that's a bit a separate topic. And here down is just an example, construction products from EPD International, so the generic one. So you see that this is also, they also cover that. And then you have these detailed life cycle stages in the typically in the construction EPDs, but it's a bit taken up by other sectors too. From production, the specific construction, use stage, end of life, and then in the benefits from system expansion basically, and maybe end of life waste incineration and so on. And you need to order and organize your life cycle according to these stages, which are quite detailed, but it's quite nice and useful, I believe. And we show in a practical example later how this can be done in openLCA, which is maybe also an interesting point. And then you see here that you can also, although I said that you have PCRs are meant to harmonize and align different products, you still have some options, and you can have different types of EPDs that are cradle to gate with options, cradle to grave, and module D, for example, that is everything. And then also in EN 15804 you have this cradle to gate and C1, C4, and D mandatory, and you can leave out the rest if you want. But you are probably familiar with this, but that's just to give some background, and it's useful to know what we talk about. Then you perform the LCA. We of course, well, not of course, but for EN 15804 I would recommend, of course, this openLCA and EN 15804 with EcoInvent. That is a database that we created last year, first time, which is verified to be compliant with EN 15804, and then you can really create all these indicators for that you want. But there are also other databases and of course tools also in use. And then output is this list of, I mean, it's not everything, but these are the LCIA indicators, and you see that's only for A1 and 3, but you are probably familiar with this. So this some short 2, I think, slides about this. So this is the EN 15804 add-on that we made, verified by Therese Laxner from Dachstein Merl, now in second version, compliant with EcoInvent 391, and that's publicly available. So far the theory. I hope this, yes, we add links in the description afterwards. Thank you for the comment, very nice. Okay, when you answered already, very nice. So now then, maybe the more interesting part, let's look how this is done in openLCA. So first we go through with slides, but I can also show this live in openLCA, but first with slides because it's a bit maybe larger, for example, and slower, so for you to easier to consume, so to say. First you make a product a process of your target process, and then you create this, create a new flow, rename your process to match the lifecycle stage. If you want to make one single process for A1, that's not needed, but it could be done. And then you enter the inputs and outputs for this, of course, and add the providers. That is something that openLCA has, and maybe you know this already, so you can here specify what is the process delivering this product that you need in your process that you model from the background database that you have. Then you can continue with with other lifecycle stages, of course. And here we had created A1 first, and now we are in A3, and then this, of course, you create a supply chain for your entire life cycle. And now it is recommended. We just this week released a new version of openLCA where we, you could say, ironed out the impact directions. That's now quite nice. That was a bit an issue in earlier versions, 1.x of openLCA, because problem is that impacts are always positive, but you have flows that are on the input and on the output side, and some are on purpose negative. So therefore, it's a bit tricky for the software to decide what should be contributing in a positive way to impact results, and therefore this you can now specify this for the impact category, and then this you can also influence this by the characterization factor, and that is then solving the issue. We will make a blog post about this, and that's quite nice. We're quite happy that this is now finally sorted out. So you should set impact directions for the impacts. But sorry, I was a bit distracted. But basically here you only said you need to enter elementary flows. So too much information, and also waste and wastewater, of course. And if you have byproducts also, but that's normal LCA modeling. So maybe this is quite familiar with everybody. And also distraction, we have now finally a final version, first version of the handbook for version 2 that we will release. So that's now really finished, and that's was a bit of effort because we changed so much, but there also these steps are explained quite in detail. Then this is the process. Then you have, that's why this science, you can also apply allocation if needed. So you have a byproduct and main product. Can select the allocation that you apply. And then when you have done this, you click on for A1 here, create your product system, auto-link process, because you have a process delivering to your first process. And then this looks like this. This is the product system, and then you can, of course, repeat, or no, that's a bit, I should not run here so much, so fast, because basically we have done, I've shown this for A1, but then the idea is what we do and what is quite working nicely, that you do create one product system for one life cycle stage that you have in if you follow, for example, EN 15804, and then calculate this or model this. Similar to as I had shown for A1. Then you can calculate this, of course. You can select the suitable according to the PCR impact assessment method. So that's here. We are here in this example focusing on the EN 15804A2, which is probably quite detailed, and there are maybe simpler other PCRs, but for demonstration it's quite useful. And then we have I'm actually not sure why we have these many, but we have these many.
Yeah, just like to focus more like on the impacts. Like you want to focus about the waste, the environment, all the outputs. Yes, out if you want. It's just an extra option.
Okay, so maybe you didn't fully understand, Ashagat, because I have the microphone somehow. We are setting this up hopefully for next time. But so this allows you to focus a bit more on if you don't want all the many indicators by default, then you can filter them out here if needed. But you can also do this now quite nicely in openLCA by just copying the method, deleting some impact categories, and then you have also a smaller subset. And then you get research like this. Not here, so it's not A1, but that looks of course the same for every type of calculation that you do. With, if you want data quality assessment here it's just the inventory, and here is the impact assessment where you see then, okay, antibiotic depletion, overall amount is 8.4 kilo, and then these processes contribute, and when you unfold them, you see these are the flows contributing, and you see the data quality for that. Fix echo, please. Is it too strong? Because we had sound issues before, but not. We hope it's now. So, can you reply? Is it was it only when Ashokar was speaking, or is it now also? For time. We did not change anything, no. We had last time also sound echo issues, but much more. Perfect. You don't have any sound on. Understandable? Yeah. Okay. So I continue, but sorry for this. Yeah, you've seen that this is that's also common in openLCA use. You click on this here and then it unfolds. Overall, you have then following again this EN1584 many different impact indicators. Yeah, that's nice. But I mean, we have one, but no, I don't know. Yes. Can you mute your laptop? I mean, you're totally your sound, and now it's fixed. Okay, good to hear. So then here you see linking to this picture. Nice, linking to this picture. Now you see the different indicators that are provided by the calculation, and we put the small picture here again so that you see dark green is all these LCA indicators. Then you have output indicators, exported energy, materials for recycling. Then you have resources, and then you have waste, hazardous waste, and so forth. And that's quite a list, of course. And then you can save your results if you want. And that's also good for creating an EPD. That's also a new thing in openLCA, that you can save results. You can say save results as, and then you say a system process that was existing before, but now you can say as result. And then you have this here newly added, and it's A1 result. And and that is a first step to creating EPDs. Because EPDs consist of, in openLCA, so it's called EPD, but of course, or not of course, but I need to explain, but we are not, of course, providing, I said again, of course, but we are not providing a full EPD report, but the calculation part of an EPD, meaning all the different results for all the different indicators for life cycle stages that are contained or provided by the EPD. Yeah, and not the technical properties of products, for example, and so on, that also you expect in an EPD report, but this we thought is maybe better not put in the LCA software, but can be done in a word processing software. And then here what is here important is the result for the calculation, for the life cycle calculation, that are contained in an EPD. And so then first, here so far I just showed here is this category. So now to create an EPD, say here new EPD, then you give it a name, can describe it also, and then you can add, if you follow the steps that I showed in the slide only for one, so for A1, but you can follow this for the different other stages that you want. So you make a product system, calculate this, save it as a result, and then you add this to the EPD. Nice thing is that in this result, the link to the product system is still maintained. So therefore, it's not just a table, but you are able to see and basically save the product system that was creating this result, which is quite strong, I think. And then this is that's how it looks like. So you have here like an umbrella, I think, for these different results. This is the EPD that just contains the name. You can tag it. You say this is the declared product, and then you say can add references, especially PCI is interesting, of course. Manufacturer also is interesting. And that's it. And this is really, it's quite powerful. So it's a new element that does not exist to our knowledge in other softwares also, and it's quite reflecting this need to work more with EPDs, and hopefully this is needed and picked up. Yeah. And then once you have done your EPD, you can export it, and also you can import it, and you can use it in lifecycle models, and that's something we will now show. Exporting goes to by clicking on export. Then we have our JSON format understands now EPDs. So now before it understood processes, flows, and so on, but now it understands also EPDs. Then you select what you want to export. Here we have only made one EPD, of course, then there's only one available. And then it's saved. Yeah. And you can even apply parameters in this, but that's maybe a bit detailed. So you can say this is, for example, could be happening in France and in Germany, and then you can switch the supply chain by changing the parameter from 0 to 1, for example.
In case you have products manufactured in different locations.
Yes, if you okay, and also if you have if you have products in different locations, you can also use this to switch the one or the other on, right? Yeah.
You share the same production process, it's only different electricity methods.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. So it's good because Ashaka made mainly the sites you see, but fine. Yes. Yeah. So that was what we said. And then here you can also compare them in the project feature of openLCA, of course, and get results. Okay, so again, to repeat, the final steps, you have the background report, you have the EPD report that you need to create and deliver to according to the program operator, and you get provided a template, and then you, of course, insert your calculated results in there and add the remaining needed text, and then submit it, send this to a third-party verifier, and then this is a published EPD. Yeah, so that's the workflow, if you want. Yes, and we had steps 1 and 2 and 3 before, so that's, yeah. Okay, so that was this. Now it's a bit better. Now it's better. Okay, so fine to continue, I guess. If you have burning questions, then jump in between. But we have a question and answer sessions afterwards, so therefore maybe I just continue if I don't see any pressing things. So what is nice is that, or what I like is that often I'm a verifier since maybe 10 years, or I don't know, but it's very much has been a manual work. So you make this in an LCA software. You make your LCA model, then you basically copy the results to your EPD, and then you create a PDF. And nowadays there's this ICD or other formats that are a bit so that are at least files that you can read, but it's a bit difficult to really work with them. And we tried really to look into how can you better make use of EPDs in your models, and this is something that I'm going to explain now. And the first step is to import EPDs, and there we have implemented 2 others. So of course the openLCA import works directly, that's clear, because we have made this JSON version of EPD, so then this can be easily imported. But then we have also implemented 2 other formats. One is openEPD from Building Transparency. You see this in openLCA. If you go to Tools and then you see a menu entry, get EPDs from EC3. So this is the company behind Building Transparency, you can say. Then you can, when you have an account, download EPDs from there. And should we try this now? Yeah? Yeah. So now This is, it's a bit not good because we've tested this already. It's hopefully not too small, but we start over again, right? And Ashrakat is an account, so therefore you do this, or I can also do this when I have. Yes. So what I mentioned is here you go to get EPDs from EC3. Then you need to, maybe we are registered already, not? Yeah, yeah. So then so we are logged in. So that's you need to get from them an account, but that's somehow not difficult. And then we can just what was it? We can go to here search, and that really we could search for anything, but we can also, if we leave it blank, we get everything. Which you see, it's a bit not so stupid. So it's not stored. So then it checks the server in the US. So this is maybe a bit taking time, but it's quite not too slow. And then you see all these EPDs that are on the server and accessible for your account also. And what happens if I open one of them? Yeah, can you maybe? Yes. Yeah, that's good. And then the intermediate steps are then required to find an appropriate impact assessment method that you need to use to match the indicators contained in this EPD to your system, of course, because otherwise it's you get Frankenstein's results. So therefore, this step is yeah, that's the idea. Here you see also here this result that is then the calculated result here, and you see this is, I mentioned that the result can or does contain a link to a product system. Here it doesn't because it's not provided by EC3, but in principle this could be contained there. Chat is now dead, or is it? I don't know. If you have anything, let us know. So this was this, and then second option is. Oops, sorry. Second option are these what is in Europe called machine readable EPDs, but of course openEPD is also machine readable. Our JSON is also machine readable, but the point is that this is an adapted LCD format. For example, that is provided by quite some, typically European EPD program operators, for example Environdeck, but also EBU and others. And so then you go to data.environdeck.com, and then we don't show this now, right? But it's just so you get then data in ICD format, and you can also import them into openLCA, and these are then also EPDs. And then, so this was import, and now it is quite a common use case to our experience that you use EPDs in other EPDs. Okay. Too important to type text now, very nice, I understand. But again, it's recorded, so you can see this. But so this is a very common use case, and this is also now something I would like to bring up in this a bit interactive meeting. So I thought this is very good to be able to use EPDs in lifecycle models and not like in other tools. It's so this LCD format, for example, basically mimics a normal LCA process data set, which only contains impact category results and so on. And I thought this doesn't work, so therefore, because it's something else. So therefore, we need to have an EPD element that and use this in an LCA model. And we decided to not use the EPD directly, but the lifecycle stage result. Yeah, so this was a decision, and it's a bit maybe something to discuss, or it's maybe something that's not. It's a bit mixed practice, I think, but this way it's much cleaner. And reason is we don't have slides for this, I think, so therefore I talk. Reason is that quite often, depending on the product, though, quite often you have something like a compilation or you combine different products to make one larger product that is then used, and then you have the use phase contained in the larger assembled product, so to say. And when you if you were able to or just pull together the EPD results for the different components of this assembled result, then you would have double counting for use phase and end of life. And therefore this is a bit messy, and therefore we decided to make this so that you can enter life cycle stages or results that are components, so to say, of the EPD into life cycle models or LCA models that you make. And I'd be curious to discuss this, because it's a bit, yeah, it's a debatable, but there are ISO standards even that prescribe it like this. But to my perception, also as acting as a verifier, I've seen often that people just type in EPD results and think this is fine. And it's often also fine if it's not this combined product, but it's to be discussed. Yeah?
Yes.
Yes. Basically, yeah. So this is so long talking, but here you see in yellow a result in a model graph, which the normal model graph before was always saying processes that connect to processes, and we have here different life cycle stage processes, and then the life cycle that combines everything. And here we have here one result, and you see that you can now also connect the result as just as a process to the another process. Yeah, of course the flow must fit, so we must have the same flow here, and then you can connect and then use that. Yes. Good. Then was that already everything in slides that we have? Okay. Then I can show a bit more in openLCA, but before I leave the slide, so to say, we wanted to say that we plan specific training on EPDs end of this year, so 2023. Specific date is not yet announced, but we have some people requesting this, so therefore we think this is quite fitting and suited also for this openLCA feature, so to say. Will be given by Ashika and me, and yeah, stay tuned to see that. Good. And then not yet, but then I maybe show shortly this. So yes. So here you see the same. It's a bit different. So here you see, hopefully it's not too small. Here you see the different life cycle stages as product systems, as we had, as I had mentioned before. So you can open this, and then you see that it contains. I can edit. Can remove this, so it's cleaner. So you see that this is a normal, you can say, life cycle A1, and we have done this for A2, A3, C1, and so on. And then you see that we have a life cycle product system that looks like this. And there we have, I can make it larger also. There we have combined the. So we did not connect to processes, but we connected to the different product systems that we had made before. So because then it's more clean. You have previously modeled the different stages, then you make your product systems, then you make one overarching final process that combines the whole life cycle, and then you see all this. And when you calculate this, which we will do now, for example with this on everything method, when you calculate this, then and wait a bit of time, but it's not taking too long time, but it needs to calculate, of course, several product systems now. When you calculate this, then you see that you have, it's a bit uncommon because you have negative contributions. You see also here. Sorry? We need to get this with the microphone done. Yes, but I just wanted to introduce this. We have phase D, and then you see that this is typically meant to contain the credits, so therefore this is negative impacts. So therefore we have also here, so it makes sense that we have also here, and you see D benefits has a negative contribution here. So that really fits, and that's even more visible if we go to, where is it, contribution tree. There you see arbitrary impact category, but there you see the same, that you see the results by life cycle stage. Yeah, and this is, you see, this is here the same, so because it's a generic view, of course, so we don't get further in detail here, but it stops at the product system, but it stops at the lifecycle stage, and that is, of course, typically useful for or a required output for EPDs, and therefore we thought this is quite interesting. You can get the same thing also. I guess we didn't test this, but I guess if I open this, that's made by process, right? And when I calculate this, then I get, I forgot what the output is, but then you see it's a bit faster, and then I can get the same, same view a bit. It's not, we didn't continue here, so it's be with us, but you get maybe the idea that you then see, okay, this is the, here A1 is total, is this is the lifecycle stage, and here you're able then to unfold this and go more detail. Yeah, so there are different options. Yes, did we? Nice, thank you. Echo again, indeed. What did you said you? Did you change anything? Very strange. Sorry for, yeah. You need to set up the better microphone maybe. Okay, and export is the same. So we didn't explain this, but you can of course export ICD, EPDs as JSON LD, and then save this and share this with colleagues. That's maybe it from my side and from Ashtakat's side. Maybe, I don't know who's listening. But now, if you have questions and can still stand the sound, then please. If you want to do the lifecycle screening of emerging technologies, yes, of course, you can. It's typically, it's not specifically EPD question maybe, but that's of course possible. Emerging technologies always have the issue to, you need to a bit estimate how a technology is taking up, and typically you have some learning curves that you would like to consider in a comparison to existing technologies, because it's a bit unfair to compare this with an established technology typically, but that's possible. Yeah. More questions? What do you think of the? No, it's fixed. So it's a bit random. Good. What do you think of the result instead of EPD addition to the life cycle model? Do you think it's useful? Any other feedback? Or you need to just process the content and then we don't speak just how to add this I can easily show, just as you do for processes. So I can, for example, I can say we have here a process, where is it? The life cycle, and I say, for example, create product system, and I just create a product system for this life cycle process alone, like this, yeah. And then I can say, for example, I can just take this here, transportation, and then I can connect it here, and that's how you connect, yeah. So, and you see also it's a bit highlighted where this fits, so like this, yeah, and then it's not complicated really. Nice feedback, thank you. Our sound technique is maybe not pro, but at least the software. Other comments not? We have, of course, we will observe a bit the comments in the video, so if you have questions later, then you can ask, and that's we will reply to this. Thank you very much for your interaction, and thank you for listening. And have a good weekend. Thank you. Bye bye. You want to say something louder or no? Okay. Okay.